When people talk about semen retention, a lot of the times I hear them say the only way to defeat lust is to flee from it. And I totally disagree. And I think that's the wrong approach. Fleeing is escaping, and that's a short-term solution. It's just a matter of time before you're going to end up on your bed, near your phone. You need to change your perception. All external action precedes your internal state. Before you decide to masturbate, you have a thought. You have a trigger, which is internal. So instead of trying to change that external action, you need to first trace back to the root of it, which is your internal state. Why are you having that thought? What makes you want to do that? Because if you no longer carry that with you as part of your identity and perception, then the action that precedes that won't exist either. Change the way you view it, because then it turns from being something hard that you're struggling with to being a natural desire. Once you understand that it's not about just, fighting your urges, and it's not just about discipline and beating the battle within your mind, but rather it's about, okay, I naturally want to take care of myself. I naturally want to retain my life force energy. I naturally want to do this for myself. It's no longer a battle. Stop changing your actions. Start changing your perception. You're going to keep coming back to your internal state. You're going to keep coming back to your perception, your identity, and your beliefs. These three things create the standard you keep falling back to. That's why a lot of times when people try to change certain habits, they focus on the action itself, and then it doesn't last. They're not able to succeed in changing themselves for the long term. As within, so without. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. So instead of putting the emphasis on changing the actions, you need to put the emphasis on why those actions happen to begin with. Is it the way you feel disgusted with yourself? Or is it the way you feel disgusted with lust? Because those are different. If you feel disgusted with yourself and the feeling you do after lust, then that's not the same thing as you feeling disgusted with lust. You need to reframe your perception about the issue itself. And if there's one message from this video that you take away, please let it be this. Discipline is simple and easy once you love taking care of yourself. Once you understand that the purpose of semen is to create life, then it allows you to understand how powerful semen is. You see, some people think of semen retention as just not masturbating or not ejaculating. But let's reframe it to understanding what it really is all about. It's about taking care of your life force energy and becoming the best version of yourself. Let's dive into a couple concepts that help me understand semen retention. The first one is comparing it to nature. I like to compare life to life. I like to compare us to other forms of God's creation. So I look at humans and I look at nature, and I learn a lot through nature. The purpose of semen is to create life. Semen is your seed, and once you plant that seed, that's what creates life. You co-create life with your wife and with God. This life force energy can help me in so many ways if I use it and direct it towards the right purpose. And this is where energy transmutation comes in, okay? Energy transmutation is how are you directing your energy, You can direct it towards fulfillment or decline. You can be directing it towards fulfilling your potential or staying in your comfort zone. Why do you think porn is free? What is free in this world? They charge you money for water. You think porn is free? You're big time mistaken. Because you pay with your soul and you pay with your energy. Energy harvesting is all I'm going to say. Now, the last concept I'm going to talk about is that semen retention helps you activate your Kundalini energy. How does this work? It's that from your crown chakra to your sacrum bone, which is the base of your spine, a certain fluid, a sacred fluid called Christ oil, gets released. And the goal is to ascend this sacred fluid back up to your crown chakra. And for it to ascend back to your crown chakra, it needs to pass through 33 vertebrae of your spine. And through this process, this is how you activate your Kundalini energy. And a very big part of this is retaining your life force energy. But yeah, these are a few concepts that help me with semen retention. And again, I'm not speaking to you, I'm also speaking to myself right now. The most important concept is your perception and your internal state. Because if you no longer carry that with you as part of your identity and perception, then the action that precedes that won't exist either. How can you show up for others if you can't even show up for yourself? How can you take care of others if you can't even take care of yourself? Once you shift your identity, your beliefs, and your perception, then semen retention goes from being a battle, discipline, and something hard to it being a natural desire. And that makes all the difference.